taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course. And today we're going to take a look at Land of Fire. Yes, and I am in my Thotgor. This isn't, necessarily a review about the Thotgor here. Although the Thotgor is a great ship, I am enjoying it so far. Still need to fully upgrade it, but that's another story. But we are going to take a look at Land of Fire because I've seen a lot of people do the same thing on this map, and it usually results in the same utter catastrophe. And it's getting a little old now, so I just wanted to put a video up, maybe discuss Land of Fire with you guys, and see what you think about the map as well. So you can see in the Thotgor, and I'm gonna head over to the C cap zone. That's typically where destroyers will go on this map. You'll generally find them in C or B. Sometimes they might be in A. But notice where we spawned, right? The majority of the ships spawned so that the capping C and B would be most favorable, and that would be the best choice for our team to make. What I'm emphasizing in today's video is the fact that people don't necessarily look at that on this map right yet. They're not they don't look at where they spawn. You know how on New Dawn's a great example for, it took a while. The lemming train always went down to the south at C, but now when you're on New Dawn, you can see it a little more often where people will actually take the two cap zones where they, where they spawn closest to, which makes the most sense to do. But on this map, for whatever reason, most of the battleships, in fact, in the replay that we're looking at right now, all of the battleships on my team go over towards A. They just disregard B entirely, and they go towards A. All except one, I should say. There is one battleship over here at C with us. I'm not necessarily saying that having a battleship over here at C is bad or anything like that, or that that you shouldn't have this many ships at C. But really and truthfully, if you look at the minimap and you can see that the majority of your team is going to C, whether that's good or bad, you should think that I should be taking B now. But no, all of our battleships and some other ships are over there, and they're going to fight it out over A. And that's what I've been seeing on this map, and it's really what I don't like to see, because it puts our team in a really crazy position here, where we now have to keep C and try and help A, right? B happens to be in between, and yes, we can go in and take B, but then what about supporting A? You can't write off the ships at A because you need those ships at A. You need the ships as they are, right? You don't want to lose all your allied ships, and it's really unfortunate when it happens. And I'm just saying, on this map, even though A is probably the big, well, it definitely is the biggest the biggest cap zone, but maybe a little more open and a little more battleship friendly. Battleship drivers, for the love of God, you don't have to go over there and fight right away. You could be perfectly happy taking B and shooting in on the enemies taking A. Anyway, that's what I wanted to take a look at in this video. It took me almost 3 minutes to explain, well, almost 4 minutes I should say, to explain that one. But it's what I've been seeing, and it's just sort of irritating me now. I thought that we got beyond this as a community, especially playing at these higher tiers, because it's not like, well, hopefully the majority of the people in this game, didn't just buy their way to the ships that they're in right now. Hopefully they actually grinded the way up, or learned their way through the ships as they work their way up, that sort of thing. So they're half decent and half competent at the ship they're in right now. That's what you would hope. But no. And look at now as well, right? We did manage to take C. We're still fighting over C. There's still a bit of a fight going on over here. But look, the rest of my team is over there at A. They've lost A. They never even started capping A. The enemy team has A. They have B now as well. But the enemy team capped A, and my team is just sitting back there. My battleships, most importantly, because we need these battleships, are just sitting back there sniping out the enemies they can see. And this is just such the terrible thing to do in this map. If, for example, at the beginning of the battle, it made more sense for you to cap A and B, then alright, I can accept battleships fighting it out over at A and whatnot. But you saw how we spawned, and it made total sense to go B and C. Total sense. And in fact, yes, we are still fighting it out over C, but we've almost got this right now. I mean, I'm shooting at this Thotgor right now. You know he's not going to get away. I just launched those torpedoes point blank. Sure, I can't see him right now, but yeah, right? He's going down. So there, like, C is ours. C is now more or less uncontested at this point in time. And it would be perfect, so we could swing around and go to B now. And that's what you should be doing on this map. You don't get hooked up on the cap points and say, well, C is the smallest one, so that's where the destroyers are going to have to fight, and A is the largest, so that's where the battleships are going to have to fight. Just don't get caught up in that. The reason why they made these cap points larger, mid-sized, and then smallest, isn't to classify the points as to which ships should go and cap the points. No, it's to create a different dynamic when you're trying to fight and take the point. That's all they're trying to do here. I just don't know why people can't get that through their mind. And you can see it unfolding here. I mean, the game is going fairly close. I mean, in terms of we sunk more ships than they've sunk of ours. We have A. I'm moving into B now, and B is more or less uncontested. I think there might be an enemy destroyer or cruiser nearby, but it's not a big deal. And now, I have to swoop in here, come to B, and then I can't really even stop and take a breath once I take B or am in B. I need to immediately get into position to start firing into A. And you're just, by doing this with the battleships, by doing this, they just create this whole logistical error, if you will, in the battle. Our team just can't get over here fast enough in support. You can still see that over by C, I still have cruisers and battleships down there regrouping and getting themselves together to come help B. In the meantime, the destroyers that we have remaining are rallying over at B, but the battleships again are staying useless. Really useless in the bottom there in where is that, southwest, down in that corner. They haven't even made a move to try and cap A. They're just trying to fight it out and assuming that the rest of their team is going to do it. But we can't, because they have all the battleships. That's all our battleships right down there. But whatever. So I've got this enemy destroyer here popping up, kind of contesting B here. So I started putting some shots into him. My Thotgor captain is not fully retrained, so that's why you don't see my detection, Sixth Sense, whatever it's called in this now. That's why you don't see that going off right now. He's almost trained, in fact. I've got the Thotgor, I've got the first hull on the Thotgor, and I've got the gun upgrade, range increase on the guns, working towards the torpedo upgrade, and then finally the last hull upgrade is where I'm at with the Thotgor right now. But it wasn't too bad. I did manage to sneak in here. I did manage to take B. So I started thinking, okay, alright, maybe we can do something here. Like, maybe I can pull this off, pull a rabbit out of my hat or something, and we can do this. Because if my battleships at this point in the battle, we did manage to take 2 of the points, so the battleships aren't necessarily completely useless right now. If they were to turn around and do just one big massive push into A and push the enemies out of there, we might have a chance at this. But that's not what they do. No. Instead, they decide to continue to circle around back there, continue to strafe back there, and in fact, all of those battleships who went on that side, they are all going to die. I think there's 2 left. Well, the one battleship that went towards C, he's still alive, right? He's a slow battleship. You can see him. He's making his way into B now. But all the other battleships that went over there to A, they're all going to die. They're all dead. And just completely useless. Like, whatever they decided that they needed to do over there, it's enraging. But you can see as well, I mean, in terms of points, like, the enemy team has quite a lead on us because they were able to sink so many of our battleships. So now my team really needs to focus on staying alive and killing the enemy if we want to have any chance at winning this. And you can see as well, as the battle progresses here, that at no time, even though I'm enraged at this point in time because I've been put into this situation without wanting to be in this situation, I never give up. And myself and there's the destroyers that are remaining, we never give up. We just fight it out to the bitter end here. It does make for a good replay, and it also, just in terms of the message of never giving up, right? Always trying and keep going. But strategically as well, just hoping that you guys learn a little bit here from this map as well, and not to do these sorts of things. Again, keep in mind that the reason why the cap zones get consecutively smaller is not to classify them as to which ship should be capping it. Again, it's to change the dynamic of combat over these points. Really try and keep that in mind on this map. So you can see again, I mean, some battleships are coming up here, right? Enemy battleships, obviously, ours are all dead. And some enemy destroyers as well. So I've taken a bit of damage, so I'm going to pop my smoke here, and I'm going to put a bit of shots into the enemy destroyer off in the distance there. It's a Fubuki, I think. And I just want to try and do something about this guy, because he's pretty dangerous, especially considering the amount of battleships that I have remaining as being one. I don't want that one battleship to die, because he's our heavy hitter, right? He's gonna be the tank more or less for the remainder of this battle, as long as he can possibly do it. In the meantime, the enemy still has a number of their high tier battleships. There's still an Izumo floating around out there. We've got North Carolina, I believe, as well. So there's still some heavy hitters on the enemy team that we really need to deal with, and it's going to come down to the destroyers now, because we don't have our battleships to pummel those enemy ships anymore, those enemy battleships. It is up to the destroyers now to swoop in here and take out these enemy battleships, because we are the ones who are going to be able to do it without, well, the least amount of risk involved for us to do it, rather than, say, a cruiser, or I think the battleship we have remaining is I don't know what it is, but anyway, for him to do it. So you can see that there is an Izumo coming around the corner there. I have launched my torpedoes, but the Izumo begins to slow down at the corner, so those torpedoes aren't actually going to hit him. But my allied destroyer, the Benson here in front of me, did manage to set off a nice torpedo spread at the Izumo. Unfortunately, again, though, the Izumo is in a reverse, so we just need to kind of wait for this guy to come around a little more. And in the meantime, there is also another enemy battleship coming around that corner as well. So I start thinking, okay, all right, this is great. The Benson just launched his torpedoes, so I'm going to get my torpedoes launched and ready to go here as well, hoping that I'm going to be able to hit something. Now, I'm lining and aiming up on the Izumo. I really should have lined and aimed up on the North Carolina, because my friendly Benson has already lined up on the Izumo, and his torpedoes will arrive before mine do, so it just makes sense for me to actually try and take out that North Carolina. But I wasn't thinking about it at the time. Still a little enraged. You can see as well, I mean, the points, right? They keep going back and forth. I know the enemy has a pretty significant lead, but Benson just took out their Izumo, so that gives us a bit more of a chance here. There is the North Carolina coming around there as well, and you can see my torpedoes going in, but the majority of them, right, it's just not going to line up, because I was actually aiming at the Izumo. If the North Carolina maybe was going a little faster, might have been able to do something. Luckily, more torpedoes are loaded up, so I'm going to start firing those off when I get a nice side-on shot, like a nice broadside shot here to one of the battleships, while still looking around to make sure that no other targets pop up that are closer and might pose more of a threat. So that's what I'm doing now. As well, I mean, at this point in the battle too, you can see what happens, and I'm sure you know what happens when your battleships just go off and die like this. And 9 times out of 10, or more often than not, whatever phrase you want to use, I see it happening on this map specifically, and it's always because the battleships want to go over to A and fight it out over at A. And it, just for the love of God, support your team. And this game is about teamwork. We talk about teamwork all the time on the channel. If the majority of your team, whether or not you agree with it, but if the majority of your team is going towards C on this map, maybe you should consider taking B as opposed to A. So firing off torpedoes at some enemy ships that are coming a little close now, don't really want to get hit. We need to hold on to the points that we have as long as humanly possible, just to close up the gap here, because we're getting closer. We're getting closer. The enemy is still cusping that 900 point mark, but we are almost getting to the 800 point mark. If we can just manage to sink another enemy ship, we should be a lot closer here. Now, that torpedo hit on that enemy cruiser, I couldn't believe that actually hit. I was sure that was going to miss, but somehow it hit, so fantastic. Circling around again, because want to keep maneuvering here. I only have one turret remaining. and the enemy cruiser, will be able to spot me as soon, or rather I have 2 turrets remaining, but he will be able to spot me as soon as I begin firing. All is for naught though. His secondary batteries are shooting at me, so he knows I'm here, but he has bigger concerns right now, and there, we managed to take out the enemy cruiser, and that, really closed up that gap for us. It's really close now, 854, to 8, the points just keep counting up, so really close now. So we do actually have a chance of winning this. The 3 destroyers I have left and the cruiser that I have left. So hopefully, maybe, if we can just continue sinking more of these enemy ships, we might actually be able to pull this off. I say that. It's not going to happen. But just wait to the end. Like I was saying earlier in the video, never giving up, and wait to the end to see how close those points actually get. So finally, the enemy is now capping the C point from us. Or rather, they started a little while ago, but they're actually managing to take one of our points. So now, we have a choice. We can go back to C and try and help out, and try to defend C, or do we continue on and go towards A? Another nice torpedo hit on an enemy cruiser. I think it's the same enemy cruiser actually I had earlier, so that's fantastic. So his health is going down. If we can get that guy gone, notice that the enemy team is now above 900 points, so we don't have many points to work with, and especially considering they have 2 cap points now as well, we really are scrambling here to get ourselves over to A, because A is going to be probably the best call in this case, so that we can get in there and cap it without too much enemy opposition. If we were to go back over to C, we would first have to fight the enemy ship that took C, and then we'd have to cap C, and we really just don't have the time for that. In fact, we don't have the time to take any sort of damage while capping the point, so that's why we're going towards A. Managed to take out another enemy cruiser, so that is fantastic, and again, that saved us. The enemy has almost won at this point, so we really just need to get into A and cap A while shooting torpedoes, frantically trying to kill any enemy ship. So I really wanted to take out that enemy battleship over there, but this enemy destroyer pops up, so immediately he's the center of my attention now, right? He's so close, and he's firing at me, and I just can't take these hits. Down to about half health. So I managed to set off a torpedo spread at him, hoping that it's going to actually hit him, and in the meantime lining up my gun. Yes, I only have 1 turret remaining now. Look at the points though. We finally managed to cusp the 900 point mark, but the enemy is almost at 980 points. If we don't kill 1 enemy ship, we are going to die. So I need to kill this destroyer. It's not going to happen, obviously. Just fighting it out to the bitter, bitter end. Myself and the destroyer that's remaining, that destroyer over there, craftily avoids my torpedoes. Probably wasn't too hard to do, though. And battle over. It was still a good battle, even though it was a defeat. This was still a good battle. What really eked me about this battle was just the positioning of my team and the way that my allied battleships just all went to A. And it's one thing to all go to A and then fight it out over A and actually, try and get in there and cap the point, but they didn't even do that. They just stuck in the backs, tried to snipe, and they just got sniped themselves and all got taken out. It was terrible. But yeah, main reason putting up the video today is I'm hoping that, you can take some strategy from this video and use it when you are playing Land of Fire. Specifically about taking those cap points that you spawn next to, the most convenient ones that you spawn to. Just because A is a little more open doesn't mean that all the battleships have to go over to A and have to fight it out over there. That's just insanity. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, leave any comments you have for me. You love reading those and responding back. Hit the old like button if you liked the video today as well, and hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. As always, folks, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.